So if you don't mind, I have German charts, but I'll try to speak English to involve everybody. Now, as it's a fashion to start with family history, I'm not a descendant of journalists, but from Austrian refugees. The Turner family was expelled in the 1730s for being Protestants. And thank you for inviting me back to Austria to talk about actually the work of another person from Austria, family descendant from Austria, who left Vienna to put upside down sociology. My presentation is first on some thoughts on the theory of communication, and then I'll try to come up with the conclusions that we have drawn at Tagesspiegel in Berlin. Talking about the theory, a professor at Münster University found a very simple and convincing picture for the game, how it's played today. In the past, communication was pretty simple. You had a bit like a bowling concept. If you were a more or less capable bowling person, then you would do it. Now, communication rather looks like pinball. It's getting ever more complex due to the fact of the you're not communicating one way, but you have a reverse channel, and that is making everything even more complicated, more actors, more people, more individuals in the game. The old concept dates back to the 1940s, and this guy from Vienna, Paul Felix Lazarsfeld, went to the United States to become one of the key sociologists of his time, and actually he came up with the concept of the gatekeeper and the two-step flow of communication. So what he did was, on the occasion of the national American election that was won by Roosevelt, he did research and he came up, there is a gatekeeper, which is the media, there is an opinion leader, which is the doctor or the gas station owner or the teacher in a neighborhood, and of course there's only a one-way communication because there was no back channel at that time as we know it from the internet. Now, what communication model is true for today? From the one-way road we are getting to a network. Now, this is pretty obvious, all of you know this, but the question is, how is this network working? Is it really going back and forth or not? And a very simple question that is in between there that can be researched now and has been researched is the simple question, are the people in social media really following? Are they really communicating? Are they really distributing news and distributing advertising, talking about advertising as a key source of quality media to fund themselves? And what was found out in Germany was that out of 100 people on Facebook who said, I like a certain brand, out of 100, oops, that's a symbol, isn't it? Out of 100, Holland. Out of 100, he always catches the pun. Out of 100, 0.3 really communicate about the brand they like, so hardly anyone. And out of these 0.3, half of them actually are employed by the brand they are communicating about. So it's more kind of internal communication device, Facebook for companies, but really a means of brand communication. So when advertising tries to work and profit from Facebook, what they really find out is that it's rather disappointing, and brand communication is not really working there. Now, what is this telling us for this communication model of Lazarsfeld that is outdated and that we have to rework to understand what's going on today? From the gatekeeper and the audience, we move forward to the the light milieu at the center and the following milieu that is surrounding. And another piece of research was done on how are these communication processes inside these networks, how are they really working? What you see at the left is an echo room mechanism of a minority, of an extremist group or of a highly specialized group. It may be political or in special interest. It may be on rose gardening or minority rights. If only the peripheral, the following milieus are discussing an issue, it will not come to acceptance, to general acceptance in society. Only if the lead milieu are communicating about it and are distributing it, it really becomes an issue of the whole society. What are these lead milieu people using? What are they reading? What are they looking at? And now if you look at 9 independent pieces of research, all of them quoted here, all of them say it's the lead media. That's the source, as Roland already indicated, that's the source where the lead milieus are really taking their information from, what they trust in. If you would like to have this in a little model, where do you find the highest attention by the lead milieus? Then it's the lead media. I was asked to be quite quick, so what I can tell you is, or try to do it very fast, what I can tell you is you'll get a little documentation if you want with more detail on it to read. Now, what makes up a light medium, a lead media? It's a set of 6 points. It's high integrity, it's an independent and significant large editorial team, it's receiving full attention, it is bringing together its kind of network of the light milieus, it is delivering orientation for them, and it's an intermedia agenda setting device. Now, this may be the pattern of a tabloid paper. This may be the pattern of a news aggregator in the net, and this may be the pattern of a quality lead media, let's say like Frankfurter Allgemeine, or in Austria maybe Die Presse or Standard. I'm quoting Roland. 80% of the substantial quotes in digital media are rooting back to lead media. This is a pretty surprising and a pretty encouraging finding, that so much of the communication, of the content that is distributed, that is substantial, is rooting back to those quality media. If you are deciding about advertising and you may say, I leave the lead media or I invest my money in other sources, you have to know they are the core place where the key people, the light milieus, are making up their opinion and where they pay most of their attention to. Roland indicated this. Let me ask you to guess. 20 years ago, I'm talking about 7 lead media in Germany, Die Zeit, Frankfurter Allgemeine, Süddeutsche, and the likes. 20 years ago, they had a reach among all of the population of Germany of roughly 15%, 14 point something. Now have a guess, how did it develop over the past 20 years? Have a guess. Well, fewest have in mind that the print reach is extremely stable. If you add the digital reach that wasn't available, that wasn't there 20 years ago, you even find out that the reach almost has exploded from 15% to almost a quarter. That is the reach of lead media, and it is backed by the data Roland has shown you a couple of minutes ago on what is the real source, no matter what the distribution channel is. Now, as indicated, we made a little convention out of this, the Light Media Forum, and we made a documentation. This documentation is available for you. I have a couple of them with me, and if you want to, after this session, in the break, you can have a copy if you want to. I'm sorry that it's German, but some of the visuals are easily to be understood, no matter what language you are speaking. Now, this was theory. How is now the application of this at a daily paper published in Berlin? First of all, I don't have to elaborate on this. All driving business factors around us are negative. The trade advertising, the classified advertising, the subscription marketing, the sales in newsstands, and the cost of distribution, all of them are turning into a direction that is negative for funding quality of newspapers. The answer of Tagesspiegel, which is no surprise and which is from the textbook of economics, is innovation, quality and innovation. And I'll come to a couple of innovation to highlight what we mean by this. First was an analysis of our readers, the people whom we reach, and although Berlin has 9 newspapers with a local section, although Berlin has 20 radio stations or even more that are advertising funded, Tagesspiegel is in most relevant groups #1. Now, we took a second look and analyzed our readership a bit more thoroughly, and now something may come to you as a surprise that it came as a surprise to us. Germany is one of those countries where the political capital is not the business center, like Switzerland, like the United States, different than Austria, different than the UK, different than France, where the capital is identical with the business center. Now, we found out that our audience, despite being average consumers, is pretty powerful. The lady lining up to buy probably some German sausage here is not only spending a couple of euro on sausage, but she is in charge of 300 billion of public budget in Germany. So when the Frankfurt and the Stuttgart and the Munich decision makers really come to the place where they need decisions, they come to Berlin to this lady who is representing an average income in the public sector that is by far less than incomes in businesses, but who is extremely decisive. So from this observation, we have outstanding readerships in these decision-making groups on policies. First thing we did was we added a new section called Agenda, which is targeted as a kind of B2B, business-to-business segment to the policy decision-makers in Germany, in particular in the capital. We developed or expanded on something that is pretty rare, which is advertising for policy issues by associations. They, in the past, rather invested in brochures or in events, no matter someone attended or not, by communicating the reach they could have by placing their ad in this new section. We gained a 7-digit new business. Other cases in this advertising. We launched morning push newsletters, which are easily to be read on your mobile. They did win praise and recognition and have very, very strong advertising revenues and responses, easy to be judged and very sought after. Then we went into events. I'm just giving you an idea of the growth of events. They may cover minimum 20 people or at maximum over 1,000. And I'll show you one event that we developed to and brought to a place that has lots of problems, but one problem nobody in Berlin ever felt was that there are not enough events. So what we did is we created an event for policymakers and lobbyists and brought them together in a scheme that Transparency International says this should have been invented by us. If you could play the movie, I'm sorry for being in German, but you will get a bit of the idea from the pictures. Können Sie bitte den, danke.
Digitalisierung, Fachkräfte, Investitionsschwäche und Energie. Das sind die 4 großen Themen.
Ein wirklich wunderbares Format. Bin völlig begeistert.
Ich bin beeindruckt von der Fülle der Teilnehmer, auch hochrangiger Teilnehmer.
So viele hochkarätige Leute aus Gesellschaft, aus Gewerkschaften, aus Wirtschaft und Politik zusammenzubringen, das ist schon was.
Einfach mal ein neues, auch ein bisschen interaktives Format aufzulegen, das fand ich doch lohnenswert.
Klare Statements, Themen, die nicht so beachtet werden.
Man sozusagen daraus eine Menge machen kann, man hat eine Menge in kurzer Zeit.
Sehr schön zu sehen, wie hier die einzelnen Interessenvertreter auch in kürzester Zeit auf den Punkt kommen müssen.
Man kriegt ein gutes Bild davon, was immerhin die, wenn Sie wollen, die Meinungsmacher in diesem Lande jetzt machen. Fand ich sehr gut.
Ja, ich war letztes Jahr schon hier und ich glaube, dieses Jahr ist noch besser.
Insofern tut der Politik hier das Zuhören und Mitdiskutieren gut.
Sehr verdienstvoll, den ganzen Tag auch eingeplant. Ich bin jetzt Chefredakteur, nehme ich schon mal mit, dass wir halt die vielen Themenfelder auch aufgreifen müssen.
Die Veranstaltung hat wirklich einen Spannungsbogen von Anfang bis Ende.
Dann haben wir, glaube ich, neue Maßstäbe gesetzt.
Die Veranstaltung ist klasse. Das Format mit den 5-Minuten-Statements ist sehr gut.
Das hätte ich dem Tagesspiegel so gar nicht zugetraut. Großes Kompliment.
You may have seen, looking into the room, the hall we had the meeting, we placed the people like in the English Parliament. So not like this, but people seeing each other with the ultimate or the immediate effect that nobody is playing with his mobile, which is one of the devices. Or we asked everyone to speak no longer than 5 minutes, and then we had an immediate response by policymakers on what the lobbyists said. So a new format, highly successful, people return, and Tagesspiegel is making a business out of events. A completely different event that plays out what we lost in classified ads on jobs. You may know, from the newspaper industry, that classifieds was an incredible business and is mostly gone to the web. But getting the right people you want for your company still can be a business. And as in this event that is displayed here, the digital science match, we identified in the audience 200 plus people being capable of programming in Java, or 190 something who are program SQL, and we are marketing these people to the people who are seeking employees. And we asked 100 professors to speak in 3 minutes each. When the lobbyists could do it in 5, we thought the professors can do it in 3. We went into trade publishing, publishing highly focused media for analysts, policy analysts. We went into data journalism. I won't go into too much detail, but you may know this area quite well. Tagesspiegel has gained a team, a full team, 6 people from Datenfreunde and Open Data City, and they are making a wonderful job now at our paper. And finally, we created Causa. We developed a software that is somewhat relative to the context software you did see yesterday, where we try to make debates more easily to be analyzed. Faster access, faster transparent understanding of the content of debates. We applied for funding by the Google Digital News Initiative and got one of the largest funds they gave out in the first round. This plays on one of the strengths we have. Whenever we do something in the web, we can do it on print. Causa, which is delivering debates, is doing it both digitally and in print. Tagesspiegel has gained over the past years or strengthened a good reputation. And this is not circulation. Unfortunately, this is just market share in circulation, which is not bad at all. But in a shrinking market, the Berlin newspapers that are subscribed to have all in all have a declining circulation, but the market share of Tagesspiegel for the first time is #1, and the market share is still growing. The revenue from new businesses is going up heavily. This is the revenue, but the profit, I can assure you, is going up as well. And finally, to sum it up, the message is, having understood this Leitmilieu concept, Tagesspiegel is the light media of the German capital, and because so many people in Germany are not living in Berlin and living in other even more relevant business centers, we communicate how Berlin is pulling so many aspects of culture, media, politics, business and science, and the Tagesspiegel is the paper these people read. To come to a conclusion, first, the light media concept is taking over because the gatekeeping concept is obsolete since Monica Lewinsky. You may recall it was published by the Drudge Report, although Newsweek didn't know about these rumors, so the gatekeeper was obsolete. Light media become ever more influential because their audience is getting more influential, and light media have to strengthen their stature, their reputation, their acceptance among the light milieu by innovation and quality. So this is what I had to say. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to listen to the next person. Thank you.